Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Online News and Entertainment. This is an entertainment story, so it's some interesting news. It's regarding Idris Elba. Every time you hear Idris Elba's name, you kind of associate him with the guy that's going to be the next James Bond, but it's always issue around James Bond and the color of his skin being white, and James Bond being particularly meant to be an Englishman that's not black but white, and that's what it's been about all these years. And so therefore now it's always talked about Idris Elba and being James Bond, because he's done a lot of things that would be like a Bond, and they think that he would he's a good actor, and they think he'd make a great James Bond and make a difference. But through the years, even recently before Roger Moore died, one of the James Bond actors, he said that I think along the lines of that James Bond should remain like James Bond, and Idris Elba would not fit the description of James Bond. So, let me tell you a bit more about this story, this news story that's come out now, and it raised my eyebrows. That's why I'm reading it out to you. This is from the Telegraph. The story says Idris Elba's hopes of becoming first black James Bond raised as producer says it is time. Idris Elba's hopes of being the first black James Bond have been raised after the producer of the film franchise said it is time for a non-white hero. The forthcoming Bond 25 film, directed by Danny Boyle, is likely to be Daniel Craig's last, after the actor said he wanted to go out on a high note. Barbara Broccoli, the producer behind the films, told her friend, director Antonia Fuqua, she felt that a black actor in the famous role will happen eventually. He said the two men then discussed who was in the running. Fuqua told the Daily Star Idris could do it if he was really tight and in shape. He doesn't look 45. No one would even know. When Sean Connery stepped into the role, he was a rough old dude. While many have pointed out that Idris will be near his 50s as the casting takes place, fans of the actor have said age is just a number and he is in great shape. At 45, he's 5 years younger than Daniel Craig and the same age as Roger Moore when he starred in Live and Let Die. The Luther star has made the point himself and shrugged off rumors in 2016, commenting, "I think I'm too old for that man, running around in cars and ladies and martinis. Who wants to do that?" He did, however, said it was up to the studio whether he would be fit for the role, and in 2015 commented he would absolutely become Bond if asked. In January this year, he remained coy when asked his thoughts about potentially becoming 007, asking why the job couldn't go to a woman. He said in Vanity Fair, "It could be a woman, could be a black woman, could be a white woman. Do something different with it. Why not?" Elba has been favoured to replace Craig since 2014 after leaked documents from a Sony hack revealed that Amy Pascal, co-chair of the company, put him forward. The email from the executive simply read, "Idris should be the next Bond." Other favourites to play the role have been Tom Hardy, Paul Darks, Aidan Turner, and Tom Hiddleston. Okay. So here are the people who have played Bond. Sean Connery, 1962, 1967, 1971, and 1983. John Lazenby, 1969. Roger Moore, 1972 to 1985. Timothy Dalton, 1986 to 1994. Pierce Brosnan, 1994 to 2004. And Daniel Craig, 2005 to 2018. So there you go. Now, for me, I believe they've always had their eye on Idris Elba, and it's always been timing. I believe they always want Idris Elba. But do you know what I think now that Idris Elba will become the next Bond? I think it's because of Black Panther. I think the movie of Black Panther surpassed everyone's imagination. And now that Black Panther is able to tap into the black community in the way that he did, and so many people in the black community came out to support the actor and the whole cast of Black Panther, even though it was made by Marvel, and I don't know how much that money actually went back into the black communities itself, but it was dominated by black actors. And the fact of the matter is, that movie would put a different spin on things. Now, if Idris Elba became the next James Bond, he would, in essence, bring a new crowd of Bond fans. You'd have the Bond fans already, but you now have a black community really behind Idris Elba. And the amount of money a Bond movie could take, it could be up there with a Black Panther movie. That's one of the things I think could happen. Now, nothing comes for nothing. I expect that even if Idris Elba is cast as Bond, there's going to be a slant to it. I wouldn't be surprised if either he's cast as Bond, but he may be, he may be the first Bond that's not running around with women. He may start running around with men. There may be some slant about this James Bond. I don't think we're gonna. If Idris Elba is James Bond, I don't think we'll get a straight out James Bond movie. I think there'll be some slant to it, because you give with one hand, you take with the other. So I think James Bond, if Idris Elba becomes James Bond, I do believe that it will happen. I think there's too much money for it now not to happen. I believe when it does happen, I do believe that Elba will break all records when it comes to James Bond. Diversity, I think, reach a far greater population of people, because people before would have said, look, James Bond is only for a certain set of people, an elite set of people. Idris Elba then comes in and breaks that mold. It breaks the mold, and it opens up a whole different customer base or interest base. It'll be very interesting. So I think Idris Elba is a great move to bring on board, and I believe now's the time to capitalize on it. And I think if Daniel Craig didn't have this wasn't Daniel Craig's last movie, or if Daniel Craig had finished Bond already, I think Idris Elba would already be in place to capitalize on that whole Black Panther thing. The argument also could be as well, people could say that, hey, why does he have to be James Bond? There are many people in the black community say, why does he have to go and be James Bond? Why don't we create our own? But we'll have to wait and see how this all works out. But I'm for sure, I think that James Bond is Idris Elba will be the next James Bond. I don't think the other guys bring anything to the table that Idris Elba can't bring to the table. He's as good as actor as those guys, or even better than the other guys mentioned that have been lined up, and he brings diversity to it as well. And in a world now where there's so much diversity, we've now got in the CW network Batwoman, who's openly lesbian. So that sort of trend. We're open and be more diverse in all things. So I can't see why this guy Idris Elba won't be the next James Bond. It's just the era we're in and society we're in today. Love to know your thoughts on Idris Elba. Do you think he'd make a good James Bond? Do you think he could be better than the Bonds we've had previously? Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Daniel Craig, Sean Connery. Is he as good at acting as any of those guys, or is he a better actor than those guys? Let's forget the color for a second. As an actor, where would you put Idris Elba in the room with those guys? Would he be the last man standing? Would he be the first one out the door? What movie would you say has made Idris Elba as good as these guys or better than these guys? Give me ideas, people, and let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to BWTM Online. And also, while you're at it, check us out, www.bwtmonline.com. Check us out. We're going to do some great things. Thank you so much for listening and watching. This is BWTM, and we're out. Take care.